Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new video. Today is actually going to be the first video of 2021. In today's video we're going to be talking about a wide variety of topics, but mainly I'm going to have a look forward to this year, my predictions for what's going to happen, and possibly looking at kind of the worrying direction the RuneScape economy could be headed in 2021. As always, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave it a like, it really does help me out. With your support, I'll be able to go down to Costco and buy another big bag of brown rice, which will sustain me for another month. Anyway guys, let's get started. Now for today's video, I'm going to be looking at a longer time frame than I normally do. Normally I'm over here on GE Tracker looking at the last month, the last week, maybe even the last year, but today we're going to be taking a further look back. Because even though my title is the worrying direction the economy is taking in 2021, the truth is it's the worrying direction the economy has been taking somewhat in 2019, going further back than that, and into 2021, but you know what, that's a mouthful, didn't quite fit. So to get the full picture, we're going to be going to the OSRS wiki and looking back all the way to 2015, 2014. So why am I worried about the RuneScape economy going into 2021? Well, one word, and that is bots. Now, bots have been a problem forever, but looking more recently, they have been absolutely rampant. Throughout the majority of 2020, we received a ton of Prime promotions, which are promotional events for the Amazon Prime service. Free membership has been given out this year like we're on the Oprah show or something. Everyone's just getting membership. And because of that, the amount of bots kind of seem to be at an all-time high. If you go to Pyramid Plunder, Zulrah, Barrows, Green Dragons, I mean, they're kind of everywhere. I mean, there definitely are other factors like the Trailblazer League. A load of the legitimate player base moved over to the leagues temporarily, reducing the demand across the board for most skilling supplies, PVM items, and more. To be honest, there are hundreds of reasons why individual items could be going up and down, and they all play a factor, but by far the largest problem and the root cause of most of the economic decline is bots. If the bots weren't there, we wouldn't really have nearly as big a problem. Okay, so we've ascertained that we have a lot of bots, but why is that really a big problem? Well, for example, let's have a look at grapes. Now, grapes come from a bunch of different sources, but one of the most popular methods is just getting them from Zulrah. Throughout much of 2016, all the way to 2019, they hovered somewhere between 100 and 200 GP, even spiking up higher than that. But pretty well at the beginning of 2019 and moving into 2020, they've been on a steady decline, currently today going as low as 35 GP each. Now essentially what that has done is it has dropped the price to get 99 cooking from around 15 mil or so doing jugs of wine down to around 4 mil. Now obviously on an individual level that doesn't sound so bad. All of a sudden I don't have to spend so much money on 99 cooking. But where does that end? A really large part of this game is earning money. Earning money to buy better gear, to earn more money, to buy better gear. That is kind of one of the core gameplay loops, and if multiple different skilling methods and combat gear becomes dirt cheap, one of the major drives for this game is completely taken away. So on its own, I wouldn't be terribly concerned that cooking is now pretty well dirt cheap, because it's really not the only way to train cooking. There are profitable ways that are even quicker, but is more a worrying sign of possible trends that the economy might be taking. Okay, another one here we have red chinchompas. For much of OSRS's history, they've held a price of somewhere between 1,000 and 2,000 GP. Right now they're down to 1,000 and don't show any signs of stopping. Even from when I got 99 ranged back in January, it's about half as expensive. It's at an all-time low right now, and if it doesn't go back up, range training could become dirt cheap as well. Okay, Green Dragon Hide is kind of subtle. Green Dragon Leather has been on a pretty steady decline, well, since 2017 pretty well. But one thing that actually just happened recently is Green Dragonite Leather has bottomed out. It can't really go below this point. Why, you may ask? Well, the ALC price. The ALC price of Green Dragonite bodies is 46.80, which means per Green Dragonite Leather that's 15.60. Sometime after May of 2020, it finally bottomed out. It can't go below that, and it's not really a good thing. The high alchemy price should never be a crutch that the economy uses to hold its value. Just because the numerical value of Green Dragonhide can't really go below 1,500 or so, that doesn't mean it's not still losing value. That means the buying power of your GP is going down day after day, So high alchemy prices is not the solution. Now next up here we have gold ore. If you look back through the history of gold ore, for much of 2016, 2017, and 2018, it held a very steady price at around 300 to 350. However, sometime in mid-2019, that all changed and the price started to decline. It went from 400 down to 300, down to 200, and declined and declined and declined, and now it is almost down to 100 GP each. Now, like I mentioned, there are dozens of reasons why gold ore is declining. We have Zolcano, Theater of Blood, Laron's chest, the list goes on. But again, the main root cause of the problem is bots. Right now, the cost of 99 smithing using pretty well the best method in the game is around 3 times cheaper than it was a year and a half ago. Getting 99 smithing from level 40 right now only costs around 18 mil. Quite inexpensive. If you look at mithril ore for much of 2017 into 2019, it was very consistent. And then of course Zolcano got released, which is a very easily botted minigame. And after 2 to 3 years of consistent pricing, it started to decline. Mithril ore now today being worth only around 80 or 90 GP. And look at Chaos Runes. For pretty much all of OSRS's history, hovering around 100 GP. That was of course until Zolcano, and now they are worth 50. Tanking alongside it is of course the Onyx as well, going from around 3 mil for much of RuneScape's history down to 1.5 mil, cut in half. So is Zolcano inherently just a bad minigame? Well no, but releasing a minigame that is easily botted and heavily botted that also pumps a ton of ores, runes, and resources into the game is a bad thing. Even something like Death Runes, which is used by a ton of different things. The Trident uses Death Runes, the Standard Spellbook uses Death Runes, the Ancient Spellbook uses Death Runes. They're used a lot. Even that has not managed to retain its value. Death Runes are still dropping, albeit pretty slowly. Now of course, resource items are not the only items that have been affected by the rampant botting and the decline of the economy. Mid to high level PVM items have also been pretty heavily affected. One big one I see a lot recently is Barrow's bots. Now PVM does somewhat have an advantage over scaling supplies when it comes to botting. Running a bot, for example the Chambers of Zarek, is much less likely because for one, it requires much higher stats, which gives Jagex a much larger time frame to ban your account and sets you back a lot longer, as well as the content just being way more challenging, which could be a lot harder to program if possible at all. With that said though, PVM items have not escaped botting. A really good example recently is Barrow's armor. First up here we have Duroc armor, which for the majority of the first half of RuneScape's lifespan had been increasing in price. What we didn't know is it actually did peak at the end of 2018, and ever since then most Barrow's armor has been decreasing in price, but a heavy drop off in the last half of 2020. Duroc's armor sets going from around 3 mil down to as low as 2 mil. Looking at Toregs, it has gone down from around 1 mil at September of 2019 down to 500k almost at the end of December. Almost 500k for a Toregs armor set. Rims has actually managed to hold its value a bit more than the others, but it is still decreasing very rapidly right now. 6 mil back in May down to 2.7 mil. Verax is just kind of a wasteland here, continuing its decline through 2019 all the way down to nearly 600k now for the complete set. Same thing with Guthins, it has just been slowly declining for the last couple of years. Now is the decline of PVM gear solely to do with bots? Well, probably not. Now most PVM gear lends itself to only needing to be purchased once, which means generally over time, unless there are other factors pushing the gear back up like new content or demand from something else, PVM gear does tend to decline. A good example of this is the Dex Prayer Scroll, which pretty much for its entire history has just been declining in price month after month. And you can kind of see why. A player only needs to ever get one Dex Scroll per account, which means if there are more people doing raids versus the amount of accounts being created, it's just going to continue declining. And decline it has. Right now it's only worth around 20 mil. And the Arcane Prayer Scroll, look at this now, under 1 mil. Now recently I just purchased all of the gold ore I needed to get to 99 smithing on my main account. And at first I was very excited that it was so cheap. I mean, I only spent around 10 mil on gold ore. But after a while of thinking about it, I became a little less excited. I didn't have to spend so much money on my smithing experience. But what else does that affect? I mean, you would no longer really want to mine gold ore. One of the kind of decent free-to-play moneymakers is now gone. And don't even talk to me about mithril ore. I mean, who would ever actually mine that from an ore vein ever again? Sure, now you can pick up a Varrock's armor set for around 700k, which I mean is pretty cheap, which means you don't have to save up much money for this gear. But now all of a sudden, Barrows isn't really that good of a moneymaker anymore. Everything does eventually have a consequence, and in the end, I think we'd be much better off if item prices hold a healthy value, even if in the short term you have to save up more money for your skilling supplies and gear. Now, how do we solve this problem? Well, just ban the bots. I know, easier said than done, but honestly that is the main solution. We just need less bots, either by getting rid of the promotions that introduce free membership, or somehow by tackling it, although that seems almost impossible. Band-aid solutions include stuff like introducing item sinks. Those can be very effective. For example, I was talking about the death rune earlier, but look at the blood rune. The blood rune has actually held a very high value, even throughout all these years. That's because blood runes have even more of an item sink, and that's because of stuff like the Scythe of Viter, the Sanguinesti staff, among many other things. I think we need to be constantly introducing item sinks into the game, because it really does help remove excess items from the game, which keeps the prices at a reasonable level. But in the end, let's just roll back those promotions, and just ban the bots, I guess. Okay, wait, here's a half-baked idea I came up with in like 3 minutes. What about introducing a weapon that is charged from Death's Coffer? Let me know what you think about that. Anyway guys, before I go here, I want to give another huge shout out to one of my newest members on YouTube called Zach Stoppa, who just subscribed at the Dragon tier once again. I still cannot believe 7 of you guys did that. They're joining Cappy, Zyle, James Luft, Brad Sings, Ocelot, and Kush Patel. Thank you so much guys, I really appreciate it. And also a big shout out to Birdbot and Basetitch. As always, if you guys are looking for another way to support the channel, becoming a YouTube member is a great way to do so. You can be immortalized in my videos, get access to my video release schedule, and also get a custom role in my Discord channel. Anyway guys, thanks a lot, and I'll see you next time.